Whatever you say, now will be used against you in a court of law. There you go. Yes.
Never.
Yes. I just want to mention Tony did a big thing this weekend, and I want to tell you, Tony, I was watching the different various videos. Everybody's posting stuff. And what's funny is you said when you saw Kyle Lauder, oh my God, I know since I was 18 years old. And then when you saw Ari Zucker, you're like, okay, I wore this dress, you better look at me or whatever. I couldn't stop laughing at your commentary of all your people. When you saw Kyle Lauder, you're like, oh my God, I knew since I was 18 years old. Like, it was like, but you knew Brian Attila longer than that, haven't you?
I met Brian when I was 16. It was the first Days event that I ever went to. It was the celebrity softball game in Greenville, South Carolina. And I remember, because this is how Little Tony operated, I really wanted to go. I didn't know if, like, my parents would pay for tickets and like drive me down there. So, I got on the internet, which was still very new, and logged into AOL, and I found someone associated with the radio station that was a part of the celebrity softball game. And I sent an email to the guy and I said, hey, if you guys need a water boy or anyone to help out, like, please let me know. I love Days of Our Lives. It's my favorite show. Would love to meet them. Yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. Well, the guy sent me 2 tickets to the softball game.
That's so nice.
And so I went to the softball game, and I remember meeting Brian Attila. Oh, I wish I had the photo because I still have it. Oh wait, I want. Well, maybe through a quick search I can find it on my Instagram. But yeah, I first met Brian when I was 16, and then a lot of the other cast members I've known since I was like in my late teens, early 20s. So it was a really surreal, like, full circle moment of like being this kid from South Carolina who, wanted to hang out with the Daystars to now, like, knowing them and hosting Day of Days. So it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Congratulations. Like that. And just this business is very hard and tough. And Flobo and I and Tony know this. And for many different reasons, it's tough. I won't get into that very heavily. So any kind of wins like that, we take them. It's like just, I know you have women also understand that.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Tony did it. So he did it.
Although, so the Q&A, I did not realize was going to be on Facebook Live.
Yes.
And during the Q&A, we were because we were kind of running over because we still have like a special announcement to do and everything. And so I announced, like, okay, this is going to be the last question. And the guy that was like next to ask a question kind of looked at me and he fell to his knees and everyone went, "Oh." And I went, well, now finally I get a guy on his knees and he just wants to ask a question. Everyone laughed. Jackie looked at me and was like, "Oh."
Yeah. She's stealing that one. Jackie will totally use that next week. Watch.
So that was a fun moment. We love fun moments. I'm still looking for the picture.
I heard they were going to do a Facebook Live portion. I had heard that too. It was too late. I got onto it, but I'm seeing everybody's postings on all social media. I saw my friend was right behind Michael Mattis, and he was taking pictures of Victoria Conifant. We got to see Michael Mattis. I was like, oh my God, there you are.
Mm-hmm. Where were you, James?
I had a class. That was very successful on how to promote yourself in the JLJ way. And I had class. We went down. We ran long. People had great questions. We talked step by step what I do to promote myself, and it was very successful. We had a really good time, and then we had some tea spilling too that happened towards.
Well, we love tea. We love tea spilling. Tea. I found the photo.
Okay.
So there's me.
Tony.
Oh my God, you're a baby.
The top one is me at 16 when I met Brian, and then that was me in my 30s when we had him on our show. So it was like he
hasn't aged.
He doesn't.
Just age.
So it was definitely a full circle moment. And then
that's awesome.
I saw him yesterday, and he said I was thinking when I was driving home yesterday after Day of Days how like, you know, I remember when I first met you and you said, you know, you had all these ambitions. You were going to do this, and this. And like you're doing them. And that's so rare for someone to say that they're going to do something and they actually do it. And I was like, listen, I'm a different breed.
I've only had one moment where it was like I met somebody at one time and then years later, that was Patricia Darbo. Remember I had that picture. I had met this actress, Patricia Darbo, when I was in my 20s. They used to do Soap Opera Digest Awards. They stopped doing them a long time ago. And she was so sweet. And so me and my friends met her and we took a picture together. And so then 20-something years later, almost 30 years later, me and Tony are interviewing her. And I get to meet her for the first time at my CV. And I said, I have this picture I want to show you. She's like, oh my God. So we took an updated picture. She says she has both on her piano.
Oh,
and she told me that. I was like, I can't. We become good friends now, but I know. I was like, but she's like, I
it's that face flow.
I was doing it hard, but I can't draw, so I concentrated really hard. Sorry, you were saying.
I love that. No, I thought that's the closest I've come to. Like I met someone a long time ago, and then I've known Melissa. We've known each other since the early 2000s. You're like one of my longest people I've known too. I mean, we've known each other a long time.
I'm a lucky girl.
Yes, I'm a lucky man.
Well, James, you know a lot of people, you know, including like historical figures. Like, you know, you remember that time you and George Washington, you know, hung out together.
His tooth fixed, his wooden tooth fixed. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to your credit, you helped out Madam C.J. Walker, you know, so you know a lot of people. What people also don't know is James got off the bus the stop before Rosa. and didn't realize she was not going to get up. Had he sat there, he would have been right next to Rosa.
That sounds like me, actually. I probably got off the bus.
Okay, so guys, Veronica is the youngest in our girl group. So Tony, you just reminded me of Veronica on our girls' trip, taking jabs and doing that kind of stuff. Because I'm wondering, Veronica, you're sitting here listening to Tony. What are you thinking?
I was like, so I'm sitting here thinking, first of all, I wondered if you were perhaps James's oldest friend, but
okay there? See, I told you guys. Told you.
Spicy.
But maybe she's his oldest friend. And then I'm like, it's the 50th episode, which I think is awesome. What's even more awesome is I think hopefully I'm the only one who does not have a 5 in her age. So I was like, yay for that too.
Yeah, Flo wasn't at 5 either.
For what? Oh, really? You had to take it from me. You could have just given it to me. You could have just said, Matt.
That's what old folks do. We take it away from you. That's what we do. That's what we do.
True.
Yeah, okay, so old folk. And then it was, Melissa and I have known each other for
11 years.
11, I don't know. It seems like it's like a 1 for 2. It's like a really long time. And so it was very important to her when we were on our girls' trip that I acknowledged that, because we're like sisters, and that I acknowledge that she's the older sister. She has more knowledge, more wisdom, more age. It was very important to her. So I made it very clear that she was the older sister.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the way you say that, the more wisdom, the more knowledge, just like
very prolonged, like the amount of time that it takes me maybe to walk to the coffee maker is so prolonged because I'm older.
Doesn't help. That's for sure. Yeah.
It is what it is.
Seriously.
I mean, listen, every day I remind James that, he's my oldest friend,
Exactly.
And that if anyone has questions about any historical moments, to please refer to James, because most likely he was there.
You can't get better advertising than that.
Flo calls me the crazy uncle.
Yeah, it's kind of like everyone's got a James in their family somewhere.
Melissa is the James in my family.
There you go.
Hey, I'll take it.
Hey, listen, we used to be party back in the day. We did. Them insurance companies were something else.
Which
I've
day?
heard stories about the partying, and I just am like, okay.
Well, it's funny
Which
'cause-
day, Tony? Did you say which day?
Which
Yeah,
day?
which day? Like, was it like 80s, 70s? Was Beethoven featured? Like,
Yeah,
which day?
if you're old to go
Well,
clubbing
if
with
it was in
Beethoven,
the
I don't know.
70s, I was sucking tequila out of my bottle, Tony. Okay, just
Okay.
saying.
Like, I just remember hearing about the legendary shenanigans, and then
Oh, yeah.
went to my first one and participating in the shenanigans. It said shenanigans. So
Oh yeah.
We love shenanigans.
we love shenanigans.
Wait, hold
And
on.
we
So
love being in cahoots.
was this shenanigans on company time? Like you
Well,
would
it was
go,
a
you go to
concert.
Omaha
no,
and get
no,
let loose?
Lobo, no.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
No,
Like,
it was a conference during the day. We were there, and
Yeah,
I
we
will
were
tell you-
working.
But I was going to tell you, I would show up for everything I was supposed to do, and so I was the setup person. We were setting up shit and opening doors,
yeah.
and trying to console her when she's trying to speak. I did all that, but I did that. But I was partying until 3, 4 in the morning with the rest of them. and
Yeah.
they all
So
had to
here's
go
my
out.
question though. So there was no snitches back then? There was
Oh,
no
no.
snitching?
Oh,
Okay.
no.
I didn't know. I was like, you can't even do that now. People will be like, hey, I saw you last
Mm-mm.
night on that table. Like
Yeah, no,
you
no,
know.
no. Everybody kept quiet. They have really actually all these years. We all kind of have our code. No one's broken it.
All right.
Don't
Everybody
you guys think it was so much easier to be younger? I mean, you'll know this more than I do, but don't you think it was so much easier to be younger? I know, hush up, other four, hush up. To be younger before like the phones that took pictures, before all of this stuff, like
Yeah.
that you
Yes.
could get away with was awesome. And
Yeah.
just
It was
on
very
your-
much he said, she said. So if
Yeah.
you had the right deniability in the moment, you're golden. The thing
If you
about
could-
it though is the 1 year, James, where our first year was in Monterey, right?
Yes, Monterey. Yes,
Didn't the police show up at one
Yeah, they
point to shut the after party down?
yes.
Uh-oh.
At the hotel because the people who paid good money to stay at the resort were so pissed off at us. We were so loud and obnoxious that they called the police.
Yes.
Wow.
Then
You-
that means you guys did it right.
Yeah.
That's how I
Exactly.
look at it.
But some of my favorite infamous moments were at the one in Palm Springs. James Lott Jr. was working it out in Palm Springs.
I've never been to Palm Springs to visit. I always worked that town, so I never like appreciate it. It's like ugh, Palm Springs. I gotta drive out there to drive back. You know?
Well, I went to Palm Springs for the first time in 2020 during the quarantine. It was quiet, but it was like the best getaway. But now I feel like I just want to go to Texas Roadhouse, which is on the way to Palm Springs. So I'm like, well, let's drive an hour, take a break, and then start up again.
What's that, Rancho? Like, what's halfway point between here and
Rialto.
The reality.
ah?
So me, it's the outlet malls. Me and Nick would always stop at the outlet malls right before Palm Springs. I think it's Ontario, whatever, or somewhere over there. Citadel, or whatever they call them. They have all those outlet malls. We'd always go there, and I get like I was a Puma person, get my Puma shoes for like $2 or whatever. I was always like, I was like, we got some of the outlet malls. I've never been to Pachanga or I've never been to any of those casinos. I've never been to any of those
I
outside.
haven't either.
To me, I like a Harrah's SoCal myself, but I've lost my money in a lot of casinos in California. It's pretty bad.
No, most of my gambling is I think there was a place called Alexander Valley, which was in Northern California, outside of San Francisco. They had one casino that actually had slots, because most of the casinos here they have their card tables, and they had slots. We used to go there all the time. And other than that, or Thunder Valley outside of Sacramento, that's the only other one. But other than that, I was always gambled in other places, outside the states.
I'm a nervous gambler.
What does
Like
that
when
mean?
When I, at least that's how I always describe it. Like, I'll go to a slot machine, I'll give it maybe like 3 pulls, and if nothing happens, I'm like, oop, nope, and I move on to the next one. Or sometimes if I hit, it could be like $5, and I'm like, cash out, because I feel like I was like, let me take this $5. Or like I'll do roulette. So I'll do slots, I'll do roulette, and I don't do like a number because I feel like so I either do black or red. Usually I always bet on black.
That's
But
what up, Bucks?
right. And then or I'll do blackjack. And even when I do blackjack, like, they're passing out, the cards and stuff.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
usually I usually try to find the table where it's just me and the dealer. Like I don't want anybody else. And so as soon as I see like a face card, I'm like, ooh, hit me. And then after a couple of times, if it's not hidden, I'm like, thank you. And I always go to the lowest table. Like I'm not up at the $15, $20, $50, 10. There you go. And if it doesn't happen within the first couple of tries, I get up and go find a buffet.
Oh my god!
So I would
I
just
have better luck
categorize that,
there.
Tony, though, as someone who doesn't like to lose money.
Yeah, what's the point of even?
There's no nervous about it. And it's funny because when I was young, we would always do a family trip. I mean, grandparents, uncles, and we'd go to Vegas. So when I was in my early 20s, I was at the crap table and I had a line of credit at the hotel.
Oh,
And I was like, boo, 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 yay.
yeah.
So it was for me though, when I was young, it didn't really mean anything to me. But now I'm like you, Tony. Like my sister, she'll take me to the casino and she'll be like, roulette. She'll have like $50 spread on the table. And I'm like, here's my $5.
My honey, this is it. This is the budget. 5. If I can't make this 5 into 100, I'm out.
If I can't make this 5, pop what, 20,000 for 2,000%. I'm out.
I am out. OUT out. Bye-bye.
It's fun. No, it's funny you mentioned that because I remember gambling back in the day when it was a little different and the machines were a little looser. They're much tighter now.
Weren't we all?
Well, ma'am,
I'm like, well, you're right. I'm like, ma'am, you're right.
Yeah.
I didn't even blink an eyelash.
Right. She's right. Exactly. So going back to the younger thing, that's a good segue, girl. Back to the younger thing. That's back when no one talked. It's so funny. I think I feel like when you went out with your friends, there was nobody snitching on you. So everybody you did what you did when you did what you did. And there were very few pictures. If there were, you kept the pictures. I would say there's a few Polaroids of me out there somewhere. I'm sure. I know of one. I know of one Polaroid. The person told me, he found me 30 years later. He's like, James, remember this? And he sent me, I was like, oh, yes, I remember that. And I was like, oh, I look good. I was like, let that leak to the public. I don't care now.
Let that leak.
I was young, luxurious back then. I was like, well, yeah, let's put that out. But I said a few Polaroids out there, but people didn't. They have verbal diarrhea today. They share everything today. We kept our mouths shut. I think that's why a lot of us, when we got to trouble, we knew how to keep it to we kept it to ourselves because there are a lot of things. My parents don't know a lot of things that we did.
No, my parents know very little still today. Yeah. Well, no, I mean, but also though, back in the day, I think that there wasn't this drive to be almost heard in a sense. And I think that that's what social media has brought on. Like everybody wants to be heard. They want to say something and it's easy to talk about other people. But I do remember this in certain cliques when you were partying. If like James, you might remember this. If there was somebody who was like wanted your, the guy that you were hitting on, the girl that you were hitting on, they would start saying rumors before the night even ended to try and like kill whatever you were trying to get going on that night. That's the only thing that I remember, honestly, in my partying days when I was a little younger.
Yes.
Was like there were snipey kind of, girls running around behind, backs and trying to stir up some trouble. But otherwise, like I left the party Saturday morning-ish. I didn't have a care in the world. No one was going to know what happened.
I remember there's times I don't remember how I got home. I literally don't know how I got home. I know I was happy as a clam, walking the streets of San Francisco. I don't know how I got home, and no one bothered me. My friends, they were half dressed. Who knows what that night was going that night? I mean, but it kind of care in the world. And skinny as fuck. I was so skinny. we danced like 5 nights a week. My friend Michelle, I talked to her last night. We knew each other like 40 years. And she's like, God, we were skinny James. We would go dancing like 4 or 5 nights a week. And we drank so much. And then you go eat like greasy food afterwards, but somehow you just work that off because you're young and skinny. Those days are over. Those days are all over.
Way over.
The days of like, going out to the club and then like, for me, my friends and I would go out and then we would go to IHOP. And like, I'd order a burger or whatever like that and, whatever, go to bed, still, tummy is still flat. I do that now. It's like, ooh, I got heartburn. It was like, what time did I eat this? Like, oh, it's too late to eat. It's just all these different factors. Like, what happened to the days where I could, go out and do the latest Beyonce routine and then go eat a burger at IHOP with some fries and bacon and then just go to bed like nothing happened.
Those days are over. Those
days are long gone. I have a friend who's involved with a charity here in Vegas, and they're doing like a nightclub like thing. You come, you pay, whatever. And she invited me, and I had this look of sheer panic on my face. She goes, "Relax, it's from 5 to 8 p.m." I'm like, "Yes, that I will do. I will be there."
That's an evening
At
club.
8:30, I need to be back
club.
at home in my pajamas. We're done. Like that's perfect nightclub time for me now.
Listen, we're at that age now where like when someone invites you out, it's like, well, what time? And then the closer it gets to 9, the more you're like, I don't know. Because, back in the day, it was like, we didn't start getting ready to go out till like 10:30, 11. Let's go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now I'm like, oh, you want to meet up for dinner? How about like 7? Because then at 7, I had time. It has time to digest. I can be home by 9, maybe sit up for like another 30 minutes to an hour to make sure, it fully, it does what it needs to do. And then I can go to bed. That's where we are now.
Yeah. Yeah. I told Les last night we were watching my latest guilty pleasure that Veronica did. You did this, Veronica. I'm just saying.
Yes, I did.
You did this. And so it was like 9:40 and the episode ended. And I looked up at the clock half like this. And I'm like, babe, it's almost 10 o'clock. I felt like half of me was like, yeah, you did it. I was like, dumbass, go to bed. You're exhausted.
Oh my God, I love it. I like it. Well, Tony knows. Half the time he talks to me at nighttime, I'm in bed already. I'm already in bed, ready under the Flubbo too. They know I'm usually in bed already watching TV.
Yeah.
He is one rollover away from being asleep.
Yeah. I'm like, at a certain time when the sun go down. The other day I was like, is it like 10 o'clock at night? It was like 6:30.
Yeah.
I was like, only 6:30. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Savings time, yeah.
This daylight savings is a mess. It's like we don't need for it to be dark at 4. James, you can answer this. Like back in the day when y'all were deciding daylight savings, like who decided we needed?
I like how he's both old and well traveled. He's in all these meetings.
Well traveled.
Let's get James.
Everything.
I mean, I always feel like when I have a question about ye old days, I just go to James.
Veronica, don't pick up on Tony's energy.
No, actually, I was just sitting here thinking, damn, Melissa's lucky to have me. I take it easy on her. I gotta up my game. I'm like, damn.
No.
I accept my age, and they all know I do, and I accept it all. I'm like, I am old, and I'm tired, and they just wish they look as good as us, Melissa, at this age. They were hoping they look
This is true. This is true. I too, wish that, I only had 1 digit in my social security number. So I wish that too.
One.
I'm number two. Number 2. It's my mother's number 1. I'm number 2.
Don't you put Benita in that? Okay, she is young and spriteful.
But we look the same.
Well,
they're identical twins.
We're twins. We're twins.
This is very true. A good Amazon wig and some rouge makes James look just like Benita.
Mm-hmm. They look more alike than my identical twin and I do.
Oh wow.
Wow.
That's crazy. I saw those
aunt,
pictures of Halloween, and I was like, Benita.
my aunt Faith, who was there when my mother was born. I sent her a picture. She's like, "Wow, Benita looks great." And I'm like, "That's not Benita. That's me." She almost fell out of her chair. My 82-year-old aunt was like, "What?" She's like, "Dang, you guys do look alike." It's like, we do. I said, I found that wig on Amazon. Veronica's crazy. I think Melissa should send it to you. I sent her a picture. You got to send it to you so you can see it.
Mm-hmm,
I want to see it.
Mhm.
They saw it too. That's it too, Flubber?
I think you did, yeah. 'Cause I was like, oh, you found the shirt too. That's great. And shorts.
did.
How'd you find?
It was her shirt. Actually,
Okay.
I never thought in a million years I'd be in my mother's closet as an adult trying to find something to wear. She gave me her bra. She goes, "You got to have breasts like I do. You got to have breasts."
Wait,
Let's
did
get
it come
bra.
filled? Like, how does that work? Like,
What?
if she gave you a bra, you okay? You know what? I don't want to know the
No,
answer.
no,
It's
here,
fine,
no.
it's
We're
fine.
gonna go there, Flubbo. So what we done did is
I made a mistake.
we made a mistake.
What
Good
had
job.
happened was
Good job.
What happened was I was standing. My poor stepdad was like, "What the fuck's going on here?" So I'm standing there with the bra on over my shirt I was wearing, and we was filling in her socks to find the right size of her breasts.
oh my gosh.
That's what we were doing. We were laughing. We couldn't stop laughing. We're just like, but we have the same laugh, of course. So we're just like, at the same time. And my stepdad's like, "What is going on in this living room?" And so she's like a double D. She's a big chested woman.
Robust.
And so rested woman. She's a buxom. So we were trying to match them. So we matched them. So I knew how many socks to put in there and the whole thing.
How
So the
many
shirt was
socks?
all the same way. And so when you asked, so the
I
shirt
know,
was
I did.
all the same way.
It was
And
not
it
too
Come
worked.
on,
bad.
guys.
It worked.
It's not like you're unfamiliar with the sock trick, okay?
Okay, well, okay. So
I just feel like I
saying.
asked the question and I know that no matter the answer, I couldn't use the information. It was like, oh, I'm so glad I asked. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, why'd I even
well, one day you might. You never know. Hey, somebody might want to pay you to do so. You might, okay, I know how to do it. James taught me how to do this.
Mhm.
Name my mixtape. How many socks coming out this fall?
You can have it. Exactly. So it was awesome. It turned out great. But it was just like, but she was like, she goes, "You gotta wear one of my shirts." And we're trying on her shirts, and so she sanctioned the whole outfit. So
That's great.
It was very nice. So it was a
My
fun.
mom
It was a
would never
weird,
do that.
What?
My mom would never, because my mom and I look alike. She would never do that. She's like, why
No,
would look at me for?
Yeah, your mother probably would. Yes. Yes. I thought it was just very interesting for me all these years later to do this, being who I am and doing this. But she got into it though. She was kind of getting into it. Like it's been kind of fun, but she's too afraid. I wanted her to come on to an event, Veronica, an event. People paid to see me dressed as my mom, and I want her to come on at least for a few minutes, and she's just too nervous. She's camera shy, so she's too nervous. So she's like,
Benita, camera shy.
I know that crazy. She's totally open otherwise, but when it comes to my whole family is, except for me. They're all
Maybe they don't want to dim your star. You can be the light. And maybe they're not camera shy, but maybe they're like, it's all you.
They don't care about me. They don't care about me. I wish that was it. That's not it, Veronica. They don't care about me. They just
Look, I'm trying. I'm like
I know, thank
positive, positive attitude here. I'm trying.
No, I appreciate that because I love your Argyle sweater. I used to wear them back in the day. I love my Argyle sweaters. I'm wearing a sweater too, a V-neck. Yours is more deep V, but it's like a V.
Yeah, well, this was supposed to be a deeper V with a bigger oomph, but it's a Monday morning. I gotta, like, it is what it is.
You heard Tony like like,
Oomph. Yeah. Melissa knows oomph.
Melissa's taking care of up there too in that area. She's doing good. Doing good, girl. Mm-hmm.
Well, you haven't seen Veronica in person, so just hold that thought.
Oh, that thought. Okay, I've not met you in person yet. Yeah.
You know, she's like, I have a client who owns brassiere stores, and her tagline is the alphabet starts at D.
Oh,
I sat in
dang.
the waiting room the whole time the girls were trying on bras.
Oh my God! It starts at D. So
I was like, do you have anything like really? Is it just like at that level? They're like, so sorry.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
So,
crazy.
yeah.
That's big. I had one friend when she got pregnant. She was an H.
Oh my God.
H.
Yeah.
That feels like. I feel like my back hurts for her.
Yeah.
Her back hurt. It did hurt, and it went back down.
goodness.
She had a baby, but it was like she had gained the weight or whatever, and it went. She was like an H. She had to order stuff online to get it. You couldn't find it anywhere online. Or I used to go with my mother at the top of Macy's or Nordstrom's. they have that little skinny escalator that went to the top floor. That's where all the biggins clothes were. Like back in the day, way in the back. We're like, why you make the person who's big go to the 5th floor in a tiny escalator to get clothes? How wrong is that?
Because on the way down, you can see everywhere else you can shop for other people.
Because
Because I was a Husky kid, and Husky was always in the back.
Husky.
It
It was always in the back.
Mhm.
I was a Husky kid too, so my siblings were all skinnier than me. So I was always like, "So Jamie, we're gonna go over here." I'm like, I know what's going on. I know
It's
what's
like you get to have new clothes, no hand-me-downs, but you're ridiculed on the way in. And on the way
Exactly.
out.
That's exactly what it is. I can relate to that. Yes, yeah. You call me, no, Jamie, your stuff's over here. I'm like, okay, great. So I'll go over here. While the rest of them are all picking through over there. So yes, I had that same experience. My weight always went up and down. It always went up and down. But I was always in the Husky section. I remember they started that in the 70s. So I'm sorry, that's what they started. It was Husky.
Yeah, I feel like even though I was born after that, I feel like because
no,
even though I was born way after
Yes,
that,
we know we were born after that. We get it.
way after. I think because my parents came to the country in the 70s, so like I feel like I was raised by 70s. Even though they're like I feel like everything, the whole floor was shag carpet, all our furniture was wood, even the TV, like even the video game system, station wagons. It just felt like I grew up as a 70s kid, even though I wasn't. So
We had a Dodge Aspen wagon. The wood paneling. We sure did. Yes, we did.
wow.
Do you
and
guys
see-
know,
Please.
speaking of like that whole wood thing, for the longest time, my dream car when I was growing up was the Mustang with the wood paneling.
Oh wow.
Do you guys remember that? The convertible Mustang with that to me was like the epitome of making it in America. Look. Immigrant kid, ESL, hush. So that was, by the way, anytime something goes wrong, ESL, sorry. I just thought having that, and I remember it was green with like the wood, oh my God, that was the American dream. That's how you know you made it, when you had a convertible Mustang with wood. So
It's funny because the one
true
person I
70s.
know who had that was like living in his car. So it was like the opposite for me. It's like, don't
Yeah,
get the
talk
car with
about
the wood.
bursting a bubble. Good job, Flobo. Good job.
I'm just saying, I didn't
it
know.
means he made it. He made it. Living in
What
his
other
car.
dreams did you have? What other goals did you have that I could squash for you right in this moment? Good childhood memories? Can I just do this
What was a dream
thing?
killer? What was a dream killer? That's what he was a dream killer.
You know what? It was assisted killing. All right, I'm done.
And assistant killing. What up, though? What was an immigrant kid too? He knows what's going on. He's an immigrant kid.
Right.
Yes, I remember we had this avocado green refrigerator, and I thought it was the best thing on earth. I loved it. It was green. It was beautiful. I loved it. I look back at it now, going, it's not beautiful. It wasn't pretty.
Yeah.
It was really disgusting. And this house, when we first moved here in '78, over there, you can't see it's over there. We had a whole wall was wood paneling, the whole wall. And I'm like, just one wall.
Yeah.
We still got it at my parents' house. Yeah.
So yes, we had that. So that was very interessante, as we say. It was very interesting. But Mustangs, my sister got a '65 Mustang. That was her dream. And she got it. We wore the shit out of those shocks running around town. But she was like, she had that 65 Mustang. So it's funny, Veronica, you said that. Hers was, but it had the wood paneling. But that was her favorite. She actually got one. And that was her dream in high school. She had a '65 Mustang.
Very nice.
All right, my first car was a Honda CRX with the smushed up butt. It was all smushed up. I'm like, how did I fit in that car? I was skinny. Yeah, I could fit in that
I don't know
car.
what that looks like. Oh wow. Yeah.
I know.
Respect.
I had that, and then I got a '94 Ford Escort.
That is not what I expect your first car to be.
I know. Crazy.
What was your first car, Veronica?
It
My
wasn't
first
the
car was, good Lord, it was a Dodge. I can't even remember the make of it, but it was a hand-me-down from my mom, and she bought it used, and it was dusty pink. It was metallic dusty pink with a burgundy interior, and the person who she bought it from had hummingbirds etched into the back window.
Oh my God.
So it was very very styling. And it had, I remember it had like power steering, it had power brakes, which are fantastic. It was like, ooh, until I remember getting off of the 15 here in Vegas on Charleston, and the ramp goes like this, and the power brakes failed. And oh dear God, yeah. And so I'm going down the off ramp, and I'm like slamming on the brakes. I'm like praying. It did stop without hitting anybody, but it was like, and then I thought to myself, as soon as I can afford my own car, I'm gonna get something a little bit more, a little more, something I don't have to worry about like killing myself in. Not, I mean, it wasn't a Nova. It wasn't like anything like that. It wasn't like, those fire starters. It wasn't like those fire starters from the 70s, but I was like, this is not the way Princess should drive. So
yes.
How about Flobo? What was your first car, Flobo?
A 1999 Toyota Camry Solara, which is the two-door Camry. Because I really wanted a Crown Vic because I couldn't fit in anything else, and that was like the biggest car that wasn't lame because cops only drove Crown Vics back then. So yeah, the two-door Camry.
So you were asking for the uncle car, like only uncles drive
I was
Crown
a biggin,
Vic.
Tony. I was a biggin.
Tony, Mr. Tony, what were you sporting back in the day?
I got my sister's, I think it was a 92 Mazda Protege. It was like this small, like white, it was white. And then I feel like something happened with that. And then I took my mom's 89 Honda. So the 92 Protege was like during high school, and then college, I got the 89 Honda, and it wasn't until I graduated college in 2006 was when I got a Mazda Tribute. So, because I wore all those cars into the ground.
I did too. Mine too. They were dead. Melissa, about you?
Camaro Z28, baby.
Wow, yeah, those were huge back in the day.
They were.
They were huge.
Yeah, I bought it used. We had a tradition in my family. My great grandparents at the time were very wealthy, and so every grandchild that turned 18 got like a really big check. That was like their thing.
Okay.
But my great-grandfather was very ill at the time. He would not have seen us turn 18. So we got a very big check at 16.
Oh, wow.
So he wanted to do that for us before he passed away.
Yeah.
And so I used that money to buy my first car.
That car was, oh my God, that car was so big at the time. I remember that.
Oh, yeah. I felt I was, I thought I was something special.
You were hot. 3 T's.
I love fast cars. I love driving fast. So I had, Camaros, Mustangs, and then I went to a Chevy Blazer 4-door SUV when they just came out.
Dang.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was like, when I showed up, I was like, who are you? Where's your sports car? So yeah. How about you, James?
Well, I said it was a CRX, and then I had a 1990 Ford Escort.
That was your first car?
A Honda CRX.
It was
the Honda CRX.
Oh no! Now I'm getting what Tony's doing. Now I just got what Tony's doing. My first car was a dinosaur, and I just followed it backward, and I ran. I get what Tony. Now I'm getting what Tony's like. Yeah,
like you were. I thought, weren't you friends with Henry Ford? You didn't drive around in the first car?
A Ford Model T. Yeah, that was. I'm sorry. That's what it was. I'm sorry. That was my first car. I'm so sorry.
James told me he used to use his feet.
Just run.
Get around.
Run real fast.
Yeah.
Back in the Flintstone days.
Now I get what he's saying. Now I get it. But no, I had those. And I'm very practical. I was a very practical person. Then I moved to San Francisco, where I was like, fuck driving. In San Francisco hill. My first hill, I'll never forget. I have the Ford Escort, and we got stopped on one of the streets. It goes like this, and you're like, okay, you're supposed to put your emergency brake on because we're the third car down. You put your emergency brake on, have your foot on the gas. Like, it's just weird. Make sure there's enough room you can roll backwards. You go like, I was done.
Hold on. So is it because of San Francisco you don't drive today? Is that the
That
reason?
started it. That started. Well, also San Francisco has a great transportation system, so that was part
Fair
of it.
enough.
Also, those two reasons. Because, and then when I lived in New York, same thing. I need a car in New York. I would never drive in New York. I was like, I need in there.
Ah, bro.
So, I
Oh, the
drove.
Van Wick, bro. Into bro.
No, New York drivers are crazy. I would never drive in New York. We had a
I'm
driver in our family. In New
I'm
York.
insulted.
Yes, you should be. It's yes. Yeah. I love New York. You know, I love New York, but not driving. But no, because San Francisco, that scared the crap out of me because it was just so hilly. And then also, you got to park your car on the hill. You got to turn your wheels in. You're going down. You got to turn them out. It's just all these different things you had to do. And I was like, yeah, I'm done. I was like, yeah, we're done. And so then the car actually kind of died on the side of the road. And I was just like, okay, I'm done.
Just walked away from it at the same
I
time.
did. That's what we did back then.
Just
It was paid off, and I was like, I'm just done. As you do when you're young, I was young. I know what I was doing. I was like, whatever. I was in my 20s. And then San Francisco just had a great system. I mean, my jobs were like either by my house, I could walk to them, or just take the BART or the Muni. Those are the two things to get out there. Now it's fine. And then I met my friend Michelle, and we used to drive together out to a job together. We lived by each other. And then I got the job with Nick, a job where I met Melissa. And it was easy. It was 4 BART stops from my house. And we walked. It was 6 blocks from the BART station to the actual office, but it was a good 6 blocks. I'd get my coffee and just kind of ease into work. It felt really cool to do that, and so it was fine. And then I take the cable car home. I just walk over to California Street and take the cable car. And I was always like, "Ha ha! I'm on a living landmark going home. Thank you." And now it's kind of fun. So so transportation was fun in San Francisco. It was a lot of fun. And then I came to LA and I said, I don't want to drive in LA. You know, I had a car for a while and I was like, oh, I hate driving in LA. So now I get the transportation system right by me. It's been working out for me since. I don't go anywhere anyway. I've been home. I was home 5 days last week. I didn't go nowhere.
Fair enough.
I work from here. I do all this from here. I leave the house when I have to.
I got you. Yeah.
And he tries not to have to.
I try not to have to. Exactly.
He tries not
San
to have
Francisco was
to.
the beginning of it. San Francisco was the beginning of that. And I miss because San Francisco and New York, even parts of Chicago, there's some great. It's just transportation. It's wonderful. It's just wonderful to go along. If you live in places like Las Vegas or like in Pittsburgh, where it's kind of a little more spread out, you need a car in many ways. There's no transportation that's comparable, and the weather's so especially in Vegas, the weather's so.
Well, that's how I learned. It's only when I moved to Florida and I was like, oh, wait, there is no bus. A bus stop is here, but no bus is coming. This is not cool. You know?
Yeah, you can't see that. It's funny. I think I've never seen buses in Florida. I know they're there, but I've never really seen a bus in Florida.
I've seen Bigfoot. I've seen alligators. I have not seen a bus in Florida.
I've been
there for 4 years, man. It's crazy.
He saw Amelia Earhart. He saw everybody. He's like, I haven't seen a bus.
Loch Ness Monster, yeah.
Loch Ness Monster, no bus.
No
Because
bus.
I've never really seen a bus. He said in Pittsburgh too. I'm like, they go, there's buses in Pittsburgh. There is. I have never. And when it's snowing, I'm like, I have never seen a bus. I'm not going out there waiting in the snow for a bus. Or when it's 90 degrees, 90% humidity for a bus. That you just kiss my grits. That's not happening. That's not happening. Too hot. But LA's a little different. But yeah, so San Francisco and New York kind of spoiled me because it's just so easy. Subways were everywhere. They're everywhere. Subways and buses were everywhere.
Public transportation wasn't for me.
I've been very fortunate. I've got to live like from one end of the country to the other, but I've never lived someplace where I didn't have to drive. And I regret that. It would be really nice to have that, not to have the car and to just, figure it out and to go I've always lived someplace where if you don't have a car, you're pretty much, you're homebound. You're becoming one of those people, I regret that. I would have been nice to have lived someplace where even when I lived in Los Angeles full time, I lived out of the way. So in order to get somewhere I had to take a car to get to the bus, to take the bus downtown and, whatever.
Yeah.
I regretted that. I think it would have been nice.
It's interesting because I always feel like if I need a car, someone in the family has a car or you can rent a car. Like it's always like, there's things you can do. Like in San Francisco, we didn't have, in San Francisco proper where I lived, we didn't have Target. They're all full out like Daly City. They're all in the suburbs. So our friends would get together, we'd all rent a car and chip in on it, and then go shopping once every couple of weeks and go do all the major shopping. Because we didn't have that in San Francisco. We didn't have fast food in San Francisco, nothing. Although San Francisco property didn't have any of that stuff. So we would go out there and do that. And it was like, we all kind of pitched in. It was like $5 each or whatever of us doing it. And it was a lot of fun. And we had fun going shopping together and having a good time and shop. And it was a good time. But we could always rent a car. I thought so. Luckily, I did the places where I had a choice, so I could do either or. Like if you need a car, then or you had somebody who had a car in the group. It was very much when I left home was very much we kind of made our own families. Made our own families. So a lot of times, a lot of us were on our own anyway. In your 20s and 30s, you're out there all hanging out together, trying to make it happen. So we were just kind of supporting each other. Like this person had actually a place to live that was stable. This person had a car. Like everybody had something. And we all kind of just used each other for whatever we needed to use.
I was the friend with the car.
Okay, there you go. Okay.
My best friend and I, she used to get in trouble all the time because she would, Tony, take me to the mall, and then she was meeting up with a boy, or take me to, this boy's house, and a neighbor saw our car, at the boy's house and told her mom. Like we were just always in trouble, and then always late for school. That was my fault. Bless her heart. I would always have her running the class because I was always so late.
Do you still run late, Tony?
Yes, I do. But you know what? It's weird because it's a consistent late. Like I'm consistently 10 minutes late. Like it's not like I'm just late at various times. It's like if you tell me to be there at 12:30, most likely I'll be there at 12:40.
That's very interesting. I don't understand that, but it's really interesting.
I don't either. And it's like I know, and there are times where I'm like, I'm on time. This is great. And then something happens and I'm like, oh, I'm late.
Now, are you on time professionally?
They pay him.
Yes. Like when I had my full-time job, I was again consistently like 5 or 10 minutes late. But I think it's one of those things when you kind of can be, then you just are like when I was working full time, I would be late, but I would walk in with a McDonald's bag. Maybe had I not gone to McDonald's, I would have been on time. But if I have to be on set or something like that, like it would be great if I was there 10 or 15 minutes early, but usually I'm like right on time. Like I'm like, my call time is 8 a.m. and it's like 7:59. I'm like walking up, to like wherever I need to be. I was definitely on time for days though. I
know you were. That's right.
Outside, dude.
So Flobo has to drop out.
Where are you going, Flobo?
I have another Zoom at 10, so I gotta go prepare.
That's why he's all dressed up.
What Zoom do you have at 10?
Well, I'm being interviewed as an inspiration for young Black men in content creation, sir.
Wow!
Well,
Congratulations.
Awesome.
Yeah. That is beautiful. He said
that is beautiful. My good friend Whitney said that she believes the children are the future, and if you teach them well and let them lead the way,
I told you specifically,
and show them all the beauty they possess inside. That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. Whitney would be proud. Whitney. I called her Nippy. Not many people did, but I called her Nippy.
Thanks for inviting me. Congratulations on 50 episodes, 50 more. And all that
Thank
stuff.
you. Well, I'll be back.
Thank you, Flobo.
Bye.
Bye, Flobo.
Bye.
And he just disappeared. Just
like that.
Just like that.
It's like that. You're saying, okay, I was going to say something you just said. Anyway, on time. That's right. Yeah. So you were on time for that. Yes.
I sure was. But yeah, it's weird. I'm consistently about 10 minutes late. That's a pretty consistent thing. I don't know.
So no one in your life has said, okay, we're meeting at 7:30 when the time is really 8.
No.
To get you to reverse engineer. No.
We've done it at my family. We've done it at my family for certain people.
Oh, have you?
Oh, we have.
Mm-mm.
And that's
what's strange now is that I have a friend who I guess it's like we run on the same time. We'll be like, all right, so we're gonna meet for lunch at 12:30. Cool. I'm leaving my house. I am too, and we're both pulling in 10 minutes late.
So it actually works out. Maybe
It
actually
works
right
out. It works out. No one's waiting. No
Yep,
one's like
right.
upset. So
I don't mind so much sometimes because I guess for me, because I always got 10,000 things going on, that gives me a few extra minutes to work on something real quick on my phone. I guess so for me, it's
Yeah.
like, okay, you're gonna be a little late. That's fine. I mean, I know you're coming. So I mean, I'll just kind of okay. At least give me like something. The one thing I don't like is no communication. Give me
Yes.
something, and I go, okay, got it. But don't just give me no communication. I don't know what's going on. They just kind of show up and you're like, well, I know, I don't like that. But give me something like I'm on my way. And if I know you, I'll go, okay, on his way means I'll see him. And then I go, okay, then I can adjust accordingly.
On my way means he's still in the house running around trying to find his keys.
Yeah, exactly,
And then go to his
exactly,
train.
exactly. Yes, Veronica?
I was meeting a friend. If I am on time, I'm filled with anxiety because I'm late. I need to be I need to be a little early. I need to know where I'm going to park my car. I need to acclimate. I need to like get the lay of the land. So if it's at 10 and I'm pulling up at 9:59, I'm about to have a heart attack. Like it doesn't work for me. So whenever I meet friends for dinner and stuff, if we have a reservation at 5, dinner, like whatever, I'm there like 15 before, I'm checking in. Let's go. My one of my biggest pet peeves is I'm there, I've gotten the table, whatever. Somebody strolls in 10, 15, 20 minutes late. I'm like, where were you? Oh, well, they hold reservations for half an hour. I'm like, the hell? What? Right? Like, hi, I don't.
Yeah, like, okay.
That's one of my, I'm like, come on, listen, I'm here. I got this. Like, let's go. Call me if you're running late, whatever. Smoke signals, carrier pigeon, don't care. But don't just show up. Don't just stroll in. They hold reservations.
Oh yeah, no, that's some. But I will tell you, like Veronica, like if you're the friend that's like 15 minutes early, when I get that text of like I'm here and we were supposed to meet at 5, my heart sinks. Like all of a sudden I'm on the freeway, like I gotta get there because it's like. You kind of like, dude, like, oh, we're supposed to meet at 5, dude. And then all of a sudden, your world goes quicker when that friend goes, oh, I'm here. And it's like, you're 15 minutes early. What are you doing there already?
That's me.
But in LA, I give people some credit because sometimes trying to find parking, you may get there a little early, depending on what part of town. I will say, at least say I'm trying to find parking. Like, give me a ring ding, whatever. Say, girl, I'm trying to find parking. It's really hard. That part I get sometimes, depending on what time of day it is. Now, usually I'm a dinner person at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but that's no story. So it's usually lots of parking then. No. But on a Friday night at 6 or 7, I get, and if you go to Hollywood or like Long Beach, it can be hard to find parking sometimes. So I would give people just let me know you're trying to find parking. I can assume I can give that. Because in LA, it can be really hard sometimes.
Which I will never understand. It's like, I guess coming from South Carolina, it's like you build a building, you build a parking lot.
Right.
Like
Not LA.
That just seems to make sense. In LA, it's like you build a building and then good luck with parking. And it's like, but how am I supposed to get to your building? Your building is great. It contains something that I need. But how am I supposed to get to your building? I don't understand.
Same here.
Same in Vegas. Same in Vegas. You have like a store with like an acre of parking. And then you get to LA and you have like an acre of stores with 3 spots. When I ask my friends when we go out, here's my requirement. I have 2 questions. Is there lots of parking or do they have valet? If unless I get a yes to one, sorry, I can't make it. Sorry. Yes.
I don't blame you on that one. Valet, that's a good point too. In LA, there's a lot of valet, of course. But see, in LA, the problem is pricing. It's like, what are you willing to spend? Like, how important is that dinner or event? How important you're always weighing all your options. I think all the time. You're always weighing your options here. Like, okay, so it's $30 for parking? Or it's
how many U-turns I've made because of that?
Mm-hmm.
You pull into that parking thing. It's like you roll down that window. Hey, how much is for parking? Oh, parking is $30. $30.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even gonna be here that long.
That's what it is.
And then they always ask you. They're like, "Well, how long are you gonna be here?" I'm like, "I'm here for dinner. It's gonna be about 2 hours." Yeah, it's $30, and I'm like,
Exactly. Oh
You
no.
gotta go. I'm not gonna pay 30. Now nowadays sometimes I will because I am late. I was like, well, I just gotta pay the 30. One time I paid for parking twice because I went to this parking lot and I drove around and it looked like the parking lot was full and there was no attendant. So I had already paid like $20 to ride around and notice that there wasn't parking. I think there was parking maybe further back, but there was no like, and it was at night and there was no light and there was someone sitting there and it made it feel sketchy. So I was like, I'm not parking here. So I ended up like going down the street and paying like another like $20 so I could park in there. So I was like, all this money wasted to go park.
Well, I'll tell you, we had back in the day, back in the 90s, my friend Michelle and I come to LA and we party in West Hollywood. We come down for a weekend or whatever, and we had our favorite secret spot. There's a place called LA Buns and Company. You know where that is, Tony, of course. And there's like a what do you call it? Car wash next to it.
Yes.
So back in the day, I don't know how it is anymore. I don't party anymore. Back in the day, it was only $6, but they didn't open it up until like after 11. So back in the day, when you're young, Veronica was saying, you're young and you leave the house at 10:30 to head to Hollywood. Then we get there around 11:15. It was open. It was a secret spot for a bunch of us. We were like, oh my God. And then the car was there. It was safe. We never had any problems. There was $6. We park over there and do I get a little ticket or whatever, and that's it. And they stayed open all night, so you can get your car out. They left after like midnight, but you can go over there later and whatever. But it was just right by Boys Town. It was like right there, so it's like you just walk down a little block. And sometimes we eat at LA Buns and Company and then get in the car and go. It was a very when you found that spot, you remember that spot as long as you can, because especially in West Hollywood, all around there, it's all permit parking. You drive up and down. What's permit? Is there a P right here? And then, of course, in LA, you got to read 10,000 signs. You know that. So don't park between 5 and 6 on Wednesday and 2 and 5 on like. Oh my God, we had our cars towed all time. We couldn't go because I thought I read all of them.
No, you never do. You guys, I am so sorry. I have to go, but I will just say this before I'm so I $6 for parking. How old are you?
I'm old.
I told you he was old. I told you he was
back
old.
in the day of Ford, $6 parking. Dear Lord. So on that cheery note, I am so sorry. And that's how I make my exit.
Yes. Thank you, Veronica. We'll invite you back on also.
Please do. I'm always ready. My entourage is always ready to go. We're good.
Veronica, love you.
Bye, Veronica.
Love you
Bye,
too,
Veronica.
Melissa. It was
Nice
a
to meet
pleasure,
you.
Tony. JLJ.
Yes.
As
Old
always.
JLJ.
Tony, I'm leaving. You got to give this to me. I got to go out on the wind here. You can take it later. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye. Oh my God. And then there were what? As we're wrapping up soon anyway, but then they all just leave us behind. We're the best of the three anyway, so I mean, there you go.
This is true. When Veronica exited, I was like, oh, I need to plan my exit too because then that way you guys can close out on YouTube.
Oh, that's too too. So
yeah.
Leave us also. Thank you.
You know what? I'm gonna do that now. So that way, I think it's important as a creator to have a moment where you can reflect on, what you've done.
Yes.
And you should have that. I mean, 50 episodes is an accomplishment for anyone. And, James and I live by the motto of if you think it, do it.
Yes.
And so y'all are doing it. And that's important because a lot of people are not, because a lot of people are afraid, they're scared, they're like, oh, but what about the number of views? What about this? What about that? And, you guys are just doing it. And you're creating a space where you can come and chit chat as old friends and talk about things that are related to, old
stuff.
Melissa's like, now listen, that's cute with James, but not with me. Okay. It's okay, Melissa. You're not as old as James. I mean, James, if we did, the game of, things that are older than James, it would be James. It would just be a picture of James beside James.
And then beside James.
And on that note, Tony's
Tony
gonna
Moore.
exit.
Thank you, Tony Moore.
Tony,
Thank
it's great to see you. As
Thank you
always.
guys. Always great to see you. James, I'm sure we'll talk later. Melissa, it's always a pleasure. You look
Bye.
absolutely amazing as
Thank you.
always. And congratulations, you guys. 50 episodes.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. Bye, you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
So, Melissa, I'll ask you a question. It's actually that's a good point as we kind of wrap for ourselves. Because okay, so folks who are listening, we always just kind of come on, we start talking. That's the format we agreed on. So we actually were working on another podcast. Remember that?
Of course.
Insurance. It was in more
Work
insurance.
in progress, James.
It's always work in progress. Time. I know, but it's funny how this came out of that. And that to me is always an example of you just never know, right? And I want to ask you because in the beginning you're much more relaxed now. You were very nervous in the beginning, in terms of releasing these things. How are you feeling better about them?
I'm so much more comfortable looking at the camera.
Yes.
And I think that was the, well, I think two things. First, that is definitely it. I don't see the camera. I'm looking right at the camera. I'm looking at the lens, the little lights. I don't even see it really. Like I'm just so much more comfortable. That was a big deal. And for those who are like, oh, I can't, what do I look like on camera? What do I sound like on camera? Do I have anything interesting to say? Yeah, just do it. Like you will get more comfortable the longer you do something. It'll become second nature. That's how I'm feeling right now. But I was like, I went to watch our first episode and I was like,
oh no, I know. Yeah, I know.
So I see myself now laughing, like, I'm like,
yeah,
okay,
you are. No,
this is more me than in the beginning.
Which I knew was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen.
Yes.
I knew it was going to happen. I'd say, as long as you keep
Yes.
doing it, because you're right.
And
You
then
don't see the camera. Go ahead.
I was going to say the second, and I would say more important was I had to get past worrying about what I said.
That too, yes.
If you remember that one time I called you and I was like, James, I don't really think I'm comfortable releasing that. I said something, I'm kind of rethinking it. I'm feeling uncomfortable. And you're like, that's okay. We can pull it. It's fine. Or I can edit it. It's fine. And once you said that, I was like, I don't need a I don't want to edit it. Like that's what I said in the moment and I'm going to own it. And once that happened for me, I was like, psh.
Yeah.
If I say something, I don't ever mean to be hurtful.
No,
I'm very much more playful than hurtful. But if I ever said something, because like you and I have had some serious conversations.
Yeah.
It's who I am.
Yeah.
And I come to that honestly. So you get more comfortable, and more kind of confident. And if somebody disagrees or I said something that's hurtful, I don't mean to be hurtful. And then there's time to maybe correct that and have a bigger conversation.
Yeah.
So it was getting past being on camera, getting comfortable in front of the camera, and getting past the fear of saying something that, in today's society is deemed like wrong or it's a little controversial. I just, I got past that. And you helped me with both, actually.
Right. And you haven't gotten in trouble with it so far, so everything's fine.
Not yet.
Not yet. I'm waiting.
There's plenty of time for that, I hope.
But no, I know you are. No, I knew. My thing was like, because I've been doing this for years. I go, okay, once she gets into it, I think that's why I was always like, it's fine. We can take it out if we want to, put it in want to. I just thought after a while you're going to get comfortable at it. And I remember when you're nervous about your sister bringing up something too. This was like, that's fine. And then, but it was hilarious. The show was hilarious. I mean, I think people like authenticity. I think you're learning that. People like that. And our show is getting bigger numbers as we're going. It's like, so it's starting to organically grow. And people have commented, I love the conversation. I feel like I'm there with my friends. Like, that's kind of the point.
Yes.
And that's I think you and I always strive for that anyway. It's unspoken. We're always striving for that anyway. But it's like, if we say something that's too crazy, that's why it's not live. We record it. I can always take it out or whatever. But I think most of the time, you and I both aren't verbal diarrhea either. We just don't just like, we usually are, we have that in common. We're usually very cautious and careful. We're not cautious, but we just know what we're saying. We know we know what we choose to say.
Right.
Most of the time.
Yeah. And I think that, but this is us. Like when we're live in person, together. This was kind of our banter. This is very natural. None of this is for the camera, so to speak. So I think that it is authentic, and I think that people get that. And we're totally just promoting, call a friend, meet a friend, have conversations, you know, and coming through COVID, you know, we realize that it's a real mental health issue.
It is. Oh,
you know, we all need to connect and feel loved and feel supported. And you and I were planning that insurance podcast.
Yes. Which could happen at some point still, of course.
It probably will. And it should happen. I've had so many people tell me, you know, you need to be doing your thing.
See, now I think it's good. I think it was not supposed to happen yet.
Yeah.
Comfortable with the camera.
Yeah, I agree.
I
totally agree.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll definitely make that happen. But this was like, I said to you, I don't know if you remember that one day we're laughing. I mean, we'd spent half hour just chatting. Mm-hmm. And it was like, James, this is our show. Like, this feels like this is our show. And here we are. 50 episodes, James.
I don't do shows without
episodes.
You. Yes. 50. Well, almost 50. Well, 50 at this point, yes. But I don't do shows without you. I was like, I'm like, no, I have other shows I do that are my shows. This is James and Melissa. So when she cancels, it's canceled. We don't do it until she can do it. It's very. I think that's the whole point. Is the back and forth. It's the two ship. It's not a. I'm gonna do a solo episode today because she's not here. No, it's like no. It all gets shut down until she's ready to come back. Because folks, she has allergy issues more than I do.
So, and this is my voice still.
I know that's crazy. That's crazy.
I was so excited for this show, though. I have to tell you, Veronica and I were texting, and we know, like, this is a big deal. This is our 50th episode.
Yes.
So
yes. Who knew? I mean, like, who knew? Who knew? Who knew that I would have a show that I'm doing with you on my network, and people are actually listening to it and watching it. So I'm like,
yeah,
okay. I'm like, that's fine. I mean, I'm like, okay. I mean, I'll take it. I mean, it's such a. And to me, it's fun because one of my least produced shows. I produce all these shows. It's just kind of like, I can just sit and talk. It's like no big deal. We just talk about stuff. I wrote down what we talked about, everything. So I appreciate you. Everybody out there, we appreciate you guys also for watching and listening for us because we're going to continue doing it as long as we can do it. And it's just, it's a fun, you know, whether you drink coffee or not, it could be tea, it could be water, whatever. But we feel like you should always, if you can't in person, text a friend, call a friend. I talked to my friend Michelle yesterday. I haven't talked to her in a while. We talked for like an hour. It's the world is going so fast, and there's so much going on in the world. If you have good friends and you have nothing going on with them that's bad, you have good friends, check on them, say hi to them, have a conversation, get together if you can. I think it's very important. I think you're right. The world, we all need that right now. I think we all need that. It's very crazy. So what we do on Mondays, it's always coffee and conversation with James and
Melissa.
And so we will be back again and doing more episodes. Hopefully, here's to another 50. That's a journey. My cup, James. Here's another 50 episodes, possibly. You have your cup? Get a cup or anything? No?
Possibly. No, we're doing 50 more, buddy.
50 more.
Cheers to 50.
My coffee's good. And we will see you next time